all for being here. I want to start by thanking Jeremy. Did I pronounce that right? I want to thank him for the opportunity to speak here. When he came to me a month ago, asked me if I wanted to share something about how to build a multi-million-dollar product. I said yes, because I feel like I have some things to share that I think that we would all benefit. So my name is Rachael Aiyke. I am the founder of Ariesphere Inc. We are a platform that is committed to bridging the gap between talent and opportunity in Africa, especially in the remote world. So I am not a developer. I started as a writer. I started as a writer on Upwork, as a ghostwriter, writing stories for people, and that was in 2021. And in 2022, I transitioned into academic writing. I started writing research papers for students, and since then I have gone from being an academic writer to a research writer and a data analyst, and now I am also a freelance expert. So I believe when we saw the flyer for today's speech, we saw that the topic is how to build a multi-million-dollar product. And as a research writer, I am going to be drawing in on my research writing skills. And that's why my topic is the data-driven path to building a multi-million-dollar product. I believe that data don't lie. I believe that numbers don't lie. And I will be using my company, Ariesphere Inc., as a case study. Just to share that we recently crossed the $13,000 in revenue in 7 months. So let's talk about the real cause of guesswork. Why do startups fail? I asked a couple of people around me, I'm like, why do you think startups fail? And a couple of people, they mostly said the same thing. Startups fail because of finances, financial strategies. A lot of founders have the product, they have the users, but they do not know how to manage the finances. And believe it or not, the ability to manage your finances as a founder in building a multi-million-dollar product will either make or mar the ability for your startup to scale. So according to CV Insights, 42% of startups fail because there is no market need. Let's bring this down to my company. I launched Ariesphere Inc. in September 13, 2024, last year. And we had a market before we launched. As I said, I have been writing since 2021. I had an audience, I had users, and in 2022, a friend reached out to me and they were like, Rachael, you've gotten a couple of gigs on Upwork. Can you help me get gigs on Upwork? That's how it started. So I took over their account. They were a full stack developer. I took over their account. I was able to land them a few weeks, so it was $300, but it was something, right? So I got them a gig in 3 weeks. They gave me a percentage of it. That was the first time. And they introduced me to a friend and said, oh, this my friend helps me get it to go Upwork. You should try her out. And that person came to me, and I was able to also get them a gig less than a 1 week also. So I did it the second time, fourth, and the fifth. And the last year, I said, I can't handle all things by myself. I would need to build a team that can take this and scale it in the way it needs to be scaled. And that's why I decided to found my company to help freelancers who don't know how to get high-paying gigs in dollars, get high-paying gigs. That's what we focus on. And we also focus on academics, people in school, writing their MSCs, PhDs, who do not know how to write the research papers, but who need guidance. That's what we decided to focus on. So we already had a market need. I validated to see that we had a market need. People wanted to get jobs, people had the talent, people had the skills, but they didn't have the opportunity to convert these talents and skills into revenue that actually make their lives better. So, 42% of startups fail because there is no market need. Right? And even though we declare things, they also fail because of poor financial strategy. And that shows that the very cost of guesswork. If you decide to start building a product and decide to guess, I guess my users would like this, I guess my users would like that. Drawing from what the first speaker said, you have to solve your problem first. So if you're guessing your users would like this, is that a product that you should be using in the first place? So when we found that, okay, we had the market need, we decided to conduct the market research. Right? I believe research, as I said, I'm a research writer. I believe in data, I believe in numbers. So before we wrote a single line of code, we asked questions. If you have the opportunity to pay a certain amount of money and hand over your details to a person who promises to get you a job that will compensate you adequately for your skills, you do that. And a lot of people said yes. I do that personally. I don't have time. If you be in the job market, you would know that looking for jobs is a full-time job. Making applications is a full-time job. So I would want someone to help me make job applications. I just want to show up for the interview and learn with me. So a lot of people said that. So starting with that, not only would they want us to learn their kits, when I took a look, I said, okay, I'm going to get you a job. Send me your resume, send me your portfolio. Let me see how I'm going to present myself for you so that you get a job. And then I find substandard resumes, substandard portfolios, and all of that. And then I talk about other services, our resume portfolio optimization services. So people know things, but there's a disconnect between what they know and how they can present what they know. So we help them present themselves in this way, and then help them get jobs, right? Market research, we already know that these people want to get jobs, but during the course of conducting our research, we found that okay, they might also need help with the brand and package and present themselves to be able to land the gigs that are actually going to pay them what they deserve. So we also found that people who wanted to go on Upwork, some of them had a lot of skills. Here in Nigeria, it's very easy. You go on Coursera, before you know it, you have a skill in UI UX, you have a skill in data science, you have like 20 skills. Now, the question is, what do you want to do? Which of the skills do you want to use to generate revenue? Which of these skills can you do as a job in a way that you fall in love with your job? You work because you want to and because you love it, because you have to. That brought about our service of their priorities, helping people understand what works for them, who you are as a person, influences what you can do in your career, influences the kind of career that you can successfully scale. So we collected all of this feedback, we analyzed it, we checked out the recorded patterns, and we now decided to map out user personas for our products. What kind of people are we looking at to make use of our products? Freelancers, right? Most people are freelancers these days. The remote workspace is growing bigger and bigger by the day. So freelancers, academics, researchers, and all of that are our user personas. Those are the people that will be using our products. Even business owners use our products to recruit freelancers for their organizations. So we conducted our market research, collected feedback, we decided to validate our idea. And how we did that validate our idea? We saw that we weren't just solving a problem, we're solving a repeatable, scalable problem. A lot of people want to get jobs. A lot of people don't know how to present, even in today's world. So this is like a repeatable, scalable problem that will exist for as long as possible. So this is the confidence to start finding our medium viable products. As a platform, we started as just not a single line of code, as I said. We did not start with a website and all of that. We started with a platform that would connect all of these freelancers together. We started with a platform that could connect all of these freelancers, and we are working on our first software as a service that would also automate the work, but still maintain our human quality. So now I've spoken about the product, the idea, the users, validating it, conducting your market research, seeing if your product is a market fit, right? When we have done all of that, we already started having users. As I said, I had a user base before I launched fully, so I didn't have to struggle to get my first customer. We got our first client the day we launched, and we made $1,000 off that client. Yeah, we got our first client the day we launched. So I didn't have to look for clients. I didn't have to do so much marketing because I already had a base. What we had to focus on was generating revenue. As I said earlier, 42% of startups fail because of financial strategy. I didn't want to be one of those startups that would crash after 6 months and a year. I hear a lot of people say, oh, if you're a serial startup founder, you know that the first one is going to crash and the first one is going to fail. And I say, okay, that could be true, but I don't want that to be true for me. I don't know, what can I do differently? How can I make sure that this isn't me? So I had to focus on generating our revenue models, and that's where we took a look at our services. The services we offer, the recurring services, the one-time services. So as a founder, as an early stage founder, if you're building a product, if you're building an idea, you need to focus on revenue. It's one thing to say, oh, I launched a platform and we got 100,000 people to sign up in the first month. But what's the possibility that these people are going to come back in the next 2 months? The same 100,000 people coming back in the next 2 months. That's where we came in with our consistent cash flow. Our services, as I said, we have our resume, our Upwork services, our one-time service. Once you revamp your resume and your portfolio, you don't really need to do it again. Any little iteration that happens is something you can do. So that's a one-time service. But our Upwork service, helping people land jobs, is a recurring service. You're a freelancer, you get a gig this month. It's a one-time gig, you make $2,000. The next month, you want to make more money. You want to increase your revenue. So you would definitely keep coming back to us. And as you keep coming back to us, we keep making money. So we have consistent recurring revenue month in, month out. Does this mean that there was a time that we had financial issues? Yes. During the first 1-2 months, trying to balance, I had to dip my hands into my personal money to support some things. But I'm proud to say that from the second month, I have not had to do that up until now. So our smart revenue models have been working to consistently generate cash. When we take a look at our consistent cash flow method, I'm gonna have to move forward. When we take a look at our consistent cash flow method, I started. The first month when we started, I had to call in an in-house accountant because I understand how important finances is in running a business. And we had to draw up this spreadsheet of how to calculate the revenues that are coming in, the monies that are going out. And through looking at the spreadsheet, seeing the monies that are coming in, we're able to see the service that actually brings us a lot of money. The service that generates the most cash. That means we know the users that are our most valuable for our product, and we were able to focus on them. Doesn't mean we didn't focus on every other aspect that was generating income, but as a startup founder, as a founder trying to build a multi-million-dollar product, your most valuable customers, the customers you make a lot of money from, are the people you would focus on scaling your product to ensure that it always suits their needs. And that is what we focused on doing in order to increase our lifetime value per user. We want our users to return. We don't want a user that's going to use us for like a month and go because they are not satisfied. So that's how we've been consistently generating revenue. The first month, as I said, we made our first clients, we made $1,000 from them, and so far we've consistently generated revenue. So in the course of consistently generating revenue, ensuring that your users come back, you have to remember that there is something called a unique selling proposition. As a founder, your product is unique to you. Your product is also unique to every other product out there. You have to have a unique selling proposition, something that makes you different from every other product. Why should I use Lighthost? Why should I use Gray? Why should I use MoneyRate? Why shouldn't I use other platforms that are similar? That's your unique selling proposition. And for Ariesphere Inc., our unique selling proposition has always been our done for you. The fact that we take it off your hands and say, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of all of the stress that involves getting you a job. We're going to do that for you. And all you ever have to do is show up for the interview and actually do the job. So that has been our unique selling proposition so far. We built in 3 phases. As I said, I did not want to overwhelm the finances, and I did not want to crash from the start. I knew that always there would be reiterations to be made as a founder with your product. Someone once said that if you're not ashamed of your first product as a founder, you've not even started. So yeah, I knew that there was going to be consistent reiterations of my product. Right, so we built in 3 phases. We have the MVP, and then after we are done with that, we are going to be working on scaling and then automation to ensure that we are on track and that we are not crashing very fast. Because as the speaker that came before me said, the more users you have, you saw the meme. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. So in order to also, for financials, I would suggest we calculated our customer acquisition cost. When he spoke about running ads for so amounts, how many customers did you generate from the ad? For instance, you run an ad for $50,000, sorry, 50,000 Naira, 50,000 Naira, and you were able to get 2 customers out of the ad. It means that the cost of acquiring 1 customer is 25,000, right? So assume that you're making 50,000 per customer, and you're using 25,000 Naira to get that 1 customer. The remaining 25K goes to your company, the operations and all of that. Is that sustainable in the long run? No. Is that scalable in the long run? No. So calculating your customer acquisition cost helps you know where to cut cost. You don't want to keep spending so much money trying to get users, and at the end of the day, you're not generating as much revenue as you should be generating to enable you scale as fast as you should. Now, when you calculate your customer acquisition cost, the lower your customer acquisition cost, the higher the lifetime value of your product. If you spend less money to get more users, over time you're able to use less money to get more users, meaning that you have more money at hand to actually scale your product. Meaning that you have more money at hand to actually scale your product. But if you keep spending so much money trying to get users, at the end of the day, you're scrambling to pay salaries, scrambling to cover operations, scrambling to cover cloud infrastructures, and all of that. So, as I said, let me reiterate myself, the lower your customer acquisition cost, the higher your lifetime value. If you want to build a multi-million-dollar product, you should be focusing on increasing lifetime value. You don't make a multi-million-dollar product overnight. You don't make it in 2 years. You don't make it in 3 years. It takes consistency. It takes strategy. These little things can actually go a long way in ensuring that you're positioned to building a multi-million-dollar product. While we calculated our CAC and our LTV, we also calculated our MRR and ARR, our monthly recurring revenue and our annual recurring revenue. That helped us know how to strategize again. As I said, I'm a research writer and I do well with numbers. So assume we have 50 people, we are making $100 recurring revenue from monthly. It means that in a month we are having 5,000 in monthly recurring revenue, and in a year we are having 60,000 in annual recurring revenue. Now, when we have 50 customers that we're able to have consistent recurring revenue from, the next question you should be asking yourself is, how do I ensure that these 50 users that are here this month come back the next month? That's when you focus on quality. So when you know that you have this, you know what next to focus on. But if you're not calculating this, you don't know what next you should be focusing on. You probably focus on doing more marketing to get more users when you should focus on the existing users that you already have and use the quality to scale your product. So, sorry, I'm about to round up. Why we did all of this, we have our revenue, we calculated our ARR, MRR, and all of that. We also had to look at the opportunity. If you want to build a multi-million-dollar product, you can't go to a market that doesn't have the resources to get you to a multi-million-dollar product. For instance, what market can I think of? Think of the market that doesn't have so much money, the one that keeps going extinct by the year as AI and technology increases, right? But in the remote working freelance economy for Africa, it's projected that by 2030, we would be reaching $40 billion. And Africa, Nigeria as a whole, currently has about 33 million active users that are actively searching for jobs. This is our market. This is our users. These are the people that are going to use our product. These are the people that are going to generate the multi-million-dollar revenue for our product. So as my other speaker said, he said when you solve your problem, you know where to find the users for your problem, because you know the people that are like you, where you guys would be, where you can meet them, and how you can meet them to solve the problem. I've shown you this. So I'm going to quickly share 3 lessons that I've learned in the past 7 months. I have learned that you should know your users better than they know themselves. This saying, customer is always right, we know that it's very wrong. Some customers don't even know what they want. So know your users better than they know themselves. And the best way for you to know your users better than they know themselves is when you are solving a problem that you would want to be solved for you. So your product is only as good as your insights, right? Know your users better than they know themselves. The third one, and second one is build a business model, not just an app. Yeah, you have a product, you have an app, but build a business model, because a business model is sustainable, scalable, and can actually get you the multi-million-dollar products that you want. And the third lesson is that you should plan your finances like you will never raise money, because you might not. Cut down costs, cut down as much cost as you can. I think that the most profound advice that I got when I was starting out was from a post that I saw on the co-founder of Money Rate Status. The person said that, the founder said that if someone was not dying, he was not going to drop any money. So I think that was the most profound thing that I heard, right? And I think it has made me a much more stingy person. I'm not going to call myself stingy, I'll just call myself financially prudent, right? But spend money like you will never raise another dollar. Spend money like you might not generate revenue this month with your product, so that you will know that there would always be extra revenue to cover for whatever happens. So thank you, guys.
I have like 2 in 1 question, if you do not mind. And again, please pardon my naivety in this question. You talk much about scaling, talking about let's say, business model. So the question I keep asking myself is, how do you scale such a business for like writing for people or applying jobs on their behalf or gigs on Upwork? So that is my first question. And then the second question is this: what is stopping any of these freelancers that you are helping? Because again, we are in the verge of AI. AI is rising fast. What is stopping any of these freelancers, maybe a developer, from creating a AI agent or a browser agent to go online and browse for gigs and apply it for themselves? Like, what are you doing differently? You understand? So I just want to understand your own, should I say, selling point. So I don't know if it makes sense. So that's my question. Thank you.
So we have our users, and our users refer other users to us, right? And we generate revenue from them. But the more users we have, the more workload we have in having to get all these users jobs. So that's why I said that we are working on our first software product that would make it easier to apply to jobs for all of these users. I can't go into details of the product, but yeah, the product we're working on is going to apply to jobs for these users automatically with the way it's going to be programmed. And your second question is AI, what's stopping these people? Okay, that's why when I said we help people get jobs, you notice that I mentioned Upwork. I didn't mention any other. If you've used Upwork a lot, you know that there is a lot of money on Upwork to be made, but there are strategies that a lot of freelancers don't know, and AI is not going to give you those strategies. So what makes us different is our tailored approach to making these applications. The strategies, we have been on Upwork for years. I know what works, I know what doesn't work. I know the kind of jobs to apply for, I know the kind of jobs not to apply for. So that makes us different from AI. Yes, nothing is stopping them, but yes, we have our unique selling proposition.